So what is a library? A library is more than just books. A lot of people like to say that, what are you going to do with that degree? You're going to shelve books. Libraries aren't important anymore. Everyone can get everything on the internet. People are so wrong about that. Libraries are more than just books. Libraries are places for people and are places for ideas. And public libraries especially, and even other libraries, for the last 50 years have been so much more than just books. When I was growing up in the 80s, I'm aging myself a bit here, but when I was growing up in the 80s, if I wanted to go use a computer or print something off, I went to the library. A library was usually the only place you could find a computer for public use. Most people didn't own computers, but they could go use a computer, go use a printer in the 80s and even the 90s at a library before they were widely available and fairly cheap. Into the 90s, you get the internet. First place that you go and use the internet was your school library. Same with public libraries. First place you go online and use email or chat rooms or anything like that. Well, you go to the library. Library's always been cutting edge technology. It's the first place for public use of technology. And even in the last 10, 15 years, libraries are using AI for doing searches. You can access databases for online text at educational institutions, libraries, or even public libraries. Even with 3D printers. The first place you found 3D printers accessible to the public is in your public library or in your school library. Libraries are so much more than just the books there. It's been a cutting edge place for technology for decades. Also with libraries, it's a place for people and ideas. So if you go to a library, public library particularly, you can get help with finding a book. You can also get help with finding a job. You can get help with your taxes. You can get help with technology. You can check out technology. If you need, so a library is a social network as well. So libraries have lots of programs. Public libraries, I used to do story time. Sure, that's a traditional one, but also like makerspace programs, as well as like the knitting club or the sewing club or the book club. These are social programs. You can also, in some public libraries, they have on staff social assistance social workers, to help people in times of financial trouble or situational trouble. All this is at your library. But people take that for granted. People go, oh, it's just the books. It's not. A lot of librarians also wear many hats. They don't just work as book jockeys, as most people think of them. They also work as the social network for people. So I've had people come up to me and ask for digital resources. How do I fix a computer? How do I use my email? Real basic questions, but these things that people take for granted at a library because they don't use it. The average person who complains goes, oh, libraries are irrelevant. Hasn't probably stepped into a library in 50 years, 20 years. So libraries are still relevant. Libraries will always be relevant as long as they keep maintaining that personal space for people to go to and relax. If I go to my public library, I can find a phone charging station. I can loan out instruments. So if someone can't afford an instrument for their kid and their kid's interested in the ukulele, I can go to the public library and check out a ukulele. And these are just your public libraries. People don't even think of other libraries. When they're thinking about libraries and just books, they forget, businesses have libraries. So Bell has a library. CBC has a library. These big corporations have libraries and research centers that act as like libraries for their institutions. And even in law, there's law libraries. So there's libraries for lawyers. Where do you think your lawyer figures out that you're innocent because of some small technicality? They didn't know that off the top of their head. They went to the library and looked that up, and a librarian helped them find that information. libraries are a part of society, and people want to ban books, and people want to close libraries. People get mad at libraries because of certain types of reading time and such, and it's bogus, because libraries are fundamental to a free society. They provide more than just books. They provide a service to the community for people who otherwise do not have access or the money to get these services personally.